They went swimming at night, only one came back. The first mistake was thinking the lake would be beautiful under the moonlight. It was Mia's idea. "Let's go night swimming," she'd said, her voice low with excitement as she tugged her hoodie tighter around her. The five of them, Mia, Lucas, Jordan, Alina, and Theo, had driven out past the woods, beyond the fading reception of their phones, to where Lake Ellsworth lay still and silent. It was a place spoken about in low tones back in town. The kind of place kids dared each other to visit but never actually did. Except they weren't kids anymore. They were 19, freshly free from high school, drunk on the idea of fearlessness. By the time they reached the shore, the moon had ducked behind a thick veil of clouds. The trees around the lake bent like silent watchers, and the water stretched out like oil, black and endless. "No one else here," Theo said, his voice trying to sound casual but cracking at the edges. "Perfect." They changed behind towels, laughing too loudly, forcing normalcy. Then, one by one, they slipped into the water. It was colder than expected. Alina yelped as her foot brushed something beneath the surface, probably a branch, Jordan said. "Relax." But the unease settled like sediment. They swam out anyway, splashing, shouting, breaking the lake's unnatural quiet. But then Lucas whispered, "Hey, where's Mia?" She'd been right next to him moments ago. The water was too dark to see more than a foot below, and the light from their flashlights danced uselessly across the surface. "Mia?" Alina called, voice rising. "Mia!" No answer. No sound. Just the slosh of water as they thrashed, frantic now. Then, something brushed Lucas's leg. He gasped and dove under. The others shouted after him, but he didn't come up. Alina screamed. Jordan grabbed her hand. Theo swam back to shore without looking back. In seconds, the lake had swallowed both Lucas and Mia. The surface rippled once more, then went still. Police divers searched for 3 days. No bodies were recovered. Only Theo came back. And he wouldn't speak. Not to the cops. Not to his parents. Not even to us, his friends. Because whatever he saw in that lake didn't follow him home. It stayed inside him. And every night since, he's whispered one word in his sleep. Mia. Theo didn't return to school that fall. Instead, he disappeared into the upstairs bedroom of his parents' house, where the curtains were always drawn and the light never changed. People in town whispered that trauma had done something to him. Others said he'd seen something he wasn't meant to, something from beneath the lake. Alina and I went to see him 2 weeks after the incident. She clutched a tray of food like it was a peace offering, even though we both knew he wasn't eating. His mother answered the door, pale and tired. "He doesn't speak anymore," she said quietly. "But he listens. Sometimes." The smell hit us first, damp paper, graphite, something earthy. When we entered his room, we found the walls were completely covered in drawings. Hundreds of them. Black and white charcoal sketches, smudged at the edges but disturbingly detailed. All the same subject, the lake. But it wasn't how we remembered it. In the drawings, the lake had no surface. No reflection. Just an open, gaping mouth filled with arms. Hands. Eyes. In one picture, Mia's face floated just beneath the water, her mouth open in a scream, her skin bloated, but her eyes wide, and looking directly at whoever stared back. Theo sat on the floor, cross-legged, his fingers black with charcoal dust. He didn't acknowledge us. He just kept drawing, eyes wide and unblinking. Alina stepped closer. "Theo, what happened that night?" He paused, then, for the first time in weeks, he moved. Slowly, he raised his hand and pointed to a drawing in the far corner, one that had been torn, then taped back together. It was different from the others. It showed the 5 of us standing on the shore. But there was something behind us, something tall, long-limbed, emerging from the trees. Its arms stretched down to the lake, as if stirring it. Feeding it. A name had been scribbled beneath it in shaky, childlike handwriting. The Ferryman. Alina swallowed. That wasn't there. That's not real. But Theo just smiled, a hollow, haunted curve of his lips. Then he spoke. "She's not gone." We both froze. "She's waiting. For one of us to come back." His eyes lifted to mine. "Tag. You're next." I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Mia's face from Theo's drawing, swollen, screaming, staring. The next morning, I found a wet footprint in my hallway. Just one. Bare, pale, and human. I tried to explain it away. Maybe it was my dad, maybe the dog. But we didn't own a dog, and my dad had been gone all week for work. My mom swore she hadn't stepped out of the shower yet. But the footprint was cold and fresh, like someone had walked in from a body of water. That same night, I woke to the sound of dripping. Slow, steady, unnaturally rhythmic. It wasn't coming from the bathroom. It was coming from the wall next to my bed. When I pressed my ear to it, I could hear it. Breathing. The lake was following me. I called Alina the next morning. Her voice trembled when she answered. I found a fish in my bathtub, she whispered. A dead one. Eyes missing. We agreed to go back to Theo. This time, we brought gloves and masks, not for protection, just to keep from touching or smelling whatever was happening inside that room. Theo was worse. His lips were cracked. His fingers bled from oversketching. But the drawings had changed. They weren't of the lake anymore. They were of us. Alina screaming, her reflection pulling her under the bathtub water. Me standing in front of my closet as hands crept out from inside. Theo handed me a new sketch. This one wasn't charcoal, it was ink. Fresh. Still glistening. It was the lake again, but frozen this time. Beneath the ice was Mia, eyes open, reaching. There was a line scrawled at the bottom. She wants warmth. She's cold. She'll take whoever's next. Alina gripped my arm. We should destroy these. But Theo only laughed. It was the first time he sounded alive. You think burning a map gets rid of the place it leads to? I didn't answer. Because behind him, near the bottom corner of the wall, I saw something new, a handprint. Wet. Fresh. And smaller than all of ours. By the time we realized the handprint was real, it had already dried, vanished like a phantom warning. But something in Theo had changed. His obsession had shifted from drawings to mirrors. They're her windows, he muttered as we watched him tape every mirror in the house. She watches from the water, but not just from the lake. Any surface that reflects. He wasn't wrong. That night, Alina texted me a video. I opened it in the dark, my heart already racing. The screen shook as her camera focused on her bathroom mirror. At first, just her reflection. But then, it blinked. Out of sync. Her reflection smiled while she stood frozen in terror. And then it whispered, I never stopped swimming. The screen cut to black. I called her. No answer. I ran to her place. Inside, the air was wet. Not damp, wet, like the walls had been sweating. The bathtub was full. Clear at first glance. But when I leaned closer, I saw it, just beneath the surface. Alina's necklace. Her phone, her shirt. But no Alina. The water rippled once, then went still. I backed out, heart pounding, mind screaming. I ran to Theo. When I burst through his door, I found him kneeling in front of the hallway mirror. Not taping it, talking to it. She promised she'd let me see her, he whispered. She promised she'd show me the night again. I grabbed him, yelling. There is no promise. They're all gone. But he only smiled. She's lonely. Then he pressed his palm to the glass. And sank through it. Like water. I live far from the lake now. Different town, different name, no mirrors. But some nights? I still hear it. That dripping. Slow. Rhythmic. Like a countdown. I tried to tell myself it was trauma. Survivor's guilt. But last week, I found something in my sink. A wet drawing. Charcoal smeared, but still clear. It showed me. Asleep. And something standing behind me, made of lake water and hair and teeth. The caption read, You watched and did nothing. She remembers. That's the truth. I watched them all disappear, one by one. Mia in the water. Alina in the mirror. Theo in his obsession. And me? I stayed dry. I never swam. But now I realize. I should have. Because she doesn't want the ones who dove in. She wants the coward who ran. And last night, I woke to my mirror uncovered. There were two reflections in it. Mine. And hers. Smiling.